Couldn't sleep again? Yeah, that makes two of us. I've been up for a while too, just listening to the rain. Since we're both here, how about some stories? 5 quiet ones, the kind that fill the silence without breaking it. You don't even have to stay awake till the end. Story 1. Laundry room, locked from the inside. The laundry room in our apartment building was in the basement. Not unusual for old buildings in Chicago. Most of them had basement laundry, storage cages, bike racks, that kind of thing. Ours was particularly depressing. Concrete floor, flickering fluorescent lights, 2 washing machines and 2 dryers that ate quarters and barely worked. I'd lived in the building for 6 months before it happened. 3rd floor walk-up, studio apartment, cheap rent for the neighborhood. The building had maybe 15 units total. Mostly young people like me, some older long-time residents. Everyone did laundry late at night or early morning to avoid crowds, and we all complained about the machines. It was a Tuesday evening, around 10 p.m. I'd put off laundry for too long and needed clean clothes for work. Grabbed my basket, quarters, detergent, headed down to the basement. The elevator was broken. It usually was, so I took the stairs. 3 flights down past the lobby, then the basement stairs that smelled like mildew and old building. The laundry room door was heavy, metal, with a small window at eye level. I pushed it open, flipped on the lights. Both washers were empty. Perfect. I loaded my clothes, added detergent, fed quarters into the machine, set it to run, figured I'd come back in 30 minutes to move things to the dryer. That's when I noticed the storage room door. There were 2 doors in the laundry room. One we all came through, the main entrance from the hallway. The other was set into the far wall, painted the same institutional gray as everything else. It led to storage cages, locked individual units where tenants kept bikes, boxes, seasonal stuff. That door was usually closed but unlocked. Tonight it was closed, and there was a padlock on it. One of those heavy-duty combination locks. Weird, but not my business. I went back upstairs, set a timer on my phone, tried to get some work done. 30 minutes later, I headed back down. The hallway lights in the basement were out. They did that sometimes. Motion sensors that didn't always work. Used my phone flashlight to navigate to the laundry room. The door was locked. From the inside, I tried the handle. Definitely locked. I could hear my washing machine inside, the spin cycle winding down, but I couldn't get in. I knocked, thinking maybe someone else was in there, had locked it for some reason. No answer. Peered through the small window. The room was empty. Lights on, my washer finishing its cycle, but no people. And definitely locked from the inside. I could see the deadbolt was engaged, the kind that only works from the interior. "Hello?" I called through the door. "Is anyone in there?" Nothing. I went back upstairs, knocked on my neighbor's door. Guy named Marcus, lived in 3B, had been in the building for years. "Hey, the laundry room is locked. Do you know who has a key?" "Laundry room doesn't lock. There's no lock on that door." "Well, there is now. It's got a deadbolt and it's locked from the inside." He followed me back down, tried the door himself. "That's weird. This door never locks. How is it locked from the inside if no one's in there?" "I don't know. That's why I'm asking you." "We should call the super." Our building super was a guy named Eddie, probably in his 60s, lived in the ground floor unit. Marcus called him, and 5 minutes later, Eddie showed up with a giant keyring. "Door's locked." He tried his keys. None of them worked on the deadbolt. "This isn't right. This lock wasn't here this morning. Someone installed a new lock." "No one's supposed to change building locks without telling me." He looked through the window. "No one's in there?" "No, but my clothes are in the washer." "Hang on." He disappeared, came back with a crowbar. "I'm gonna have to break it." He wedged the crowbar between the door and frame, leveraged it hard. The deadbolt broke free with a crack of splintering wood. The door swung open. The laundry room was empty, exactly as I'd left it. My washer had finished, sitting silent. The storage room door was still closed with its padlock. Everything normal, except for the fact that we just had to break into a room that had been locked from the inside with no one inside it. "I don't understand," Eddie muttered, examining the broken lock. "This is a standard interior deadbolt. You can only engage it from inside the room, but nobody's here." "Maybe they went into the storage area," Marcus suggested. Eddie tried the storage door, still padlocked. "No one's in there either. This doesn't make sense." I grabbed my wet clothes, moved them to a dryer, fed it quarters. Just wanted to finish my laundry and leave. Eddie and Marcus stood there debating how the door could have locked itself, not reaching any conclusions. "I'll get a new lock tomorrow," Eddie finally said. "Something's wrong with this one." I stayed while my clothes dried, not wanting to come back down alone. Marcus stayed with me, both of us sitting on the bench, not talking much. The dryer hummed. The fluorescent lights flickered. The whole room felt wrong now, oppressive in a way it hadn't before. When my clothes were dry, I grabbed them and left quickly. Marcus came up with me and we said goodnight in the hallway. I locked my apartment door, triple-checked it, tried to shake off the uneasy feeling. 2 days later, I needed to do laundry again. Delicates that I'd forgotten to wash with the rest. I really didn't want to go back to that basement, but I needed clean clothes. Went down around 11 p.m. when I figured the building would be quiet. The basement hallway lights were out again. Used my phone flashlight. The laundry room door had a new lock, just a regular knob now, no deadbolt. I pushed it open, turned on the lights. The storage room door was wide open. The padlock was gone. The door swung inward, showing the dark storage area beyond. I could see the wire cages, stacked boxes, shadows. My heart started beating faster. That door had been locked. Eddie had checked it. Now it was just open. I should have left. Should have grabbed my basket and gone back upstairs. But I was annoyed, frustrated with this building and its weird issues. Walked over to close the storage door, figuring someone had just left it open. That's when I saw her. A woman standing in the back of the storage area, just standing there in the darkness, facing the wall. Long, dark hair, wearing what looked like a nightgown or dress. Completely still. "Hello?" My voice cracked. "You okay?" She didn't move, didn't respond, just stood there, motionless, facing the concrete wall. "Ma'am, do you need help?" "Nothing. Fuck this." I backed out of the laundry room, left my basket, ran upstairs, knocked on Marcus's door again, harder this time. "There's someone in the storage area, a woman. She's just standing there, not moving, not responding." "What?" "Come down with me, please. Something's wrong." He grabbed his phone, a baseball bat from his closet, and followed me down. We approached the laundry room cautiously. The door was still open, lights still on. The storage room door was closed again, padlock back in place. "It was open," I said. The door was wide open and there was a woman inside. Marcus tried the padlock, secure locked. "Are you sure you saw someone?" "Yes. She was standing in the back, facing the wall. Long dark hair, white dress or nightgown." He looked at me like he was trying to decide if I was messing with him. "There's no one here now. I know what I saw. Maybe it was shadows. This lighting down here is terrible." It wasn't shadows. It was a person. We stood there for a long moment. The building was quiet around us, just the hum of the lights and distant traffic outside. "Let's get Eddie," Marcus said finally. Eddie came down, looking annoyed to be disturbed again. We explained what I'd seen. He unlocked the padlock. He had a combination and opened the storage door. Turned on the light inside. Empty. Just storage cages, boxes, bikes. No woman. No place for someone to hide. Maybe one of the tenants was getting something from their cage, Eddie said. At 11 p.m., standing facing the wall, not moving when I talked to her. I don't know what to tell you. No one's here now. I did my laundry quickly, Marcus staying with me the whole time. Didn't look at the storage door, didn't go near it, just washed my delicates, dried them, got out. The next day, I asked other tenants if they'd been in the storage area the night before. No one had. Most people said they hadn't been down there in months. I started using the laundromat down the street. Cost more, but I couldn't handle the basement anymore. Other tenants started reporting problems. The woman in 2A said the laundry room door kept locking on her. She'd be inside alone and the door would lock itself. She'd have to pound on it until someone came to let her out. The guy in 4C said he'd heard someone crying in the storage area. Went to check, found nothing. Someone else reported the lights turning off while they were down there, leaving them in complete darkness. Eddie didn't know what to do. Called an electrician to check the wiring, called a locksmith to examine the doors. Everything was fine, mechanically. Nothing wrong that they could find. Marcus did some research, talked to longtime tenants, asked about the building's history. Turned out about 15 years ago, a woman had lived in 2A. Name was Diana Reese, mid-30s, lived alone. She'd gone missing, just disappeared one day, never seen again. Police investigated, couldn't find evidence of foul play. Her apartment had been locked from the inside, no signs of break-in or struggle. Her car was still parked outside, her belongings still in her apartment. She'd just vanished. The prevailing theory was that she'd had some kind of mental health crisis, left the building on foot, and something had happened to her. Maybe suicide, maybe accident, maybe just walked away and started a new life somewhere. But no one really knew. Why does that matter? I asked Marcus when he told me. Because according to old tenants, Diana did her laundry every Thursday night around 11 p.m., always the same time. And one of the last people to see her said she was heading down to the basement to do laundry the night before she was reported missing. My stomach dropped. You think she's down there? No. I think maybe something happened to her in that basement. And maybe she never left. We told Eddie. He looked uncomfortable, shifted his weight. Look, I've heard those stories. The old super told me about Diana when I took over. But there's nothing down there. Police searched the basement, the storage area, everything. They didn't find a body. What if they missed something? Like what? I don't know. A hidden space, a wall, something. Eddie sighed. You want me to tear apart the basement looking for a body that probably isn't there? I want to know why the laundry room keeps locking people in. Why I saw a woman standing in the storage area. Why everyone who goes down there feels like something's wrong. You're freaking yourself out over coincidence and old rumors. But he agreed to let Marcus and me look around the storage area. We went down with flashlights, examined every cage, every corner. The storage area was just a long rectangular room, concrete walls and floor, wire cages dividing it into sections. No hidden spaces, no anomalies. Except, at the very back, behind the last row of cages, was a section of wall that sounded different when Marcus knocked on it. Hollow, like there was a space behind it. This wall wasn't here originally, Eddie said, examining it. This is newer concrete. Maybe 10, 15 years old. Patched section. What's behind it? I don't know. Old utilities, maybe. The building's plumbing got redone around that time. We should check. You want me to break through a wall because it sounds hollow? Yes. He didn't want to. But more tenants were complaining. The laundry room had become a problem, and he needed to solve it. Finally, he agreed to make a small hole, just to see what was there. He came back the next day with a sledgehammer. Marcus and I watched as he swung at the concrete. It cracked, pieces falling away. The wall was only a few inches thick, a quick patch job, not structural. Behind it was a small space, maybe 3 feet deep, 4 feet wide. and inside the space, slumped against the back wall, was a skeleton, still wearing a nightgown, long dark hair, though most had fallen away from the skull. A woman's skeleton hidden behind a concrete wall in the basement of our building. Eddie called the police immediately. The building was taped off. Detectives came, forensics people. They removed the body carefully, documented everything, took statements from all of us. The skeleton was identified as Diana Reese. Dental records confirmed it. She'd been dead approximately 15 years. Cause of death appeared to be blunt force trauma to the skull. The police investigated. Turned out the previous building super, a guy named Raymond Mills, who'd retired and moved to Florida, had worked here when Diana disappeared. He was brought back, questioned, eventually confessed. He'd made advances toward Diana. She'd rejected him. He'd confronted her in the basement one night when she was doing laundry. Argument escalated. He hit her. Killed her accidentally, he claimed. Panicked, hid the body in a storage alcove that was scheduled to be sealed up during upcoming renovations. Sealed it himself, ahead of schedule, told contractors he'd already taken care of that section. Everyone had assumed Diana had run away or met with foul play somewhere else. No one thought to look in the building's own walls. After they removed Diana's body, the problem stopped. The laundry room door stopped locking randomly. The lights stayed on. No more sounds of crying. No more figures in the shadows. The storage area was completely renovated. They tore out that whole back section, rebuilt it properly, made it brighter, better ventilated. It doesn't feel oppressive anymore. I still do my laundry there now. It feels different. Sad, but peaceful. Like something that was trapped has been freed. Sometimes I think about Diana, 30-something woman, living alone, just trying to do her laundry on a Thursday night. Being in the wrong place at the wrong time, encountering someone who couldn't handle rejection, dying alone in a basement and being sealed into a wall, spending 15 years trapped in darkness, unable to move on, unable to be found, trying to get attention the only way she could, locking doors, appearing to people, making us notice that something was wrong. She'd been trying to tell us where she was. The locked door, trapped, like she was trapped. Standing in the storage area, facing the wall, showing us where to look. All of it was communication, desperate attempts to be found. And we almost ignored it, almost wrote it off as imagination, faulty locks, overactive minds. Marcus organized a memorial for her. Small gathering in the building's courtyard. Some longtime residents came, people who'd known her. We planted a tree, put up a small plaque. Diana Reese, 1974 to 2009, finally at rest. Her family had a proper funeral, proper burial. Raymond Mills was convicted of manslaughter, sentenced to 15 years. Not enough, really, but something. The building feels different now, lighter, like a weight has been lifted. People actually use the laundry room during normal hours instead of avoiding it. But I still think about that first night. The door locked from the inside. Impossible, except that it happened. Diana had been trying to show us she was locked in somewhere, trapped, calling for help the only way she knew how. To this day, I don't know how much of what I experienced was real versus my mind filling in patterns. Did I really see Diana standing in the storage area, or was it shadows and suggestion? But the door locked. That happened. Multiple people experienced it. The storage door opened and closed. The lights went out. Things happened that couldn't be easily explained. And Diana's body was there, right where I'd seen that figure standing, right where she'd been showing us to look. Sometimes hauntings aren't about scary ghosts trying to frighten people. Sometimes they're about someone trapped, someone forgotten, someone desperately trying to be found. Diana Reese wasn't haunting us. She was asking for help, doing everything she could with whatever strange ability death had given her to make us see, make us look, make us find her. And eventually we did. If you live in an old building, if strange things start happening in a specific area, if doors lock that shouldn't, if you see figures that don't make sense, don't dismiss it. Don't assume it's your imagination or faulty equipment. Sometimes it's someone trying to tell you something, someone who can't speak anymore, can't move, can't do anything except manipulate the physical world in small ways. Someone who needs to be found. The laundry room in our building doesn't lock anymore. Diana isn't trapped there. She's been found, been buried, been mourned. She can rest now. But for 15 years she couldn't. For 15 years she stood in the darkness behind that wall, trying to get someone to notice, trying to get someone to care enough to look. I'm glad we finally did. I'm glad she's at peace. But I'll never forget standing in that laundry room, staring at a door that had locked itself from the inside with no one inside. She was there, just not where we could see her. Not until we broke down the right wall. Story 2. I watched a live stream of my own apartment. I found it by accident. Just scrolling through YouTube at 2 a.m. like you do when you can't sleep. Clicking on random recommendations, watching people game or vlog or do whatever passes for content these days. The algorithm served me up a live stream with 0 viewers. The thumbnail showed what looked like a living room, dim lighting, someone's apartment. The title was just a string of numbers and letters. No description, no channel name, just user 739582647. Probably someone who'd accidentally left their webcam on, I figured. Happened more often than people thought. I almost scrolled past it, but something about the thumbnail made me pause. The living room looked familiar. Same beige walls as mine. Same ugly overhead light fixture. I clicked on it. The stream loaded. It was definitely someone's apartment, viewed from a high angle like a security camera. Living room, kitchen visible in the background. Low quality video, grainy. Timestamp in the corner said it was live, and it was my apartment. I recognized everything. My couch, my coffee table with the water ring stain, my bookshelf, the poster I'd hung last week, my jacket draped over the chair. This was my apartment. Someone was streaming my apartment. Live. Right now. I sat up in bed, heart suddenly racing. Looked around my own space. I was in the bedroom, door closed, but the stream showed my living room, empty, exactly as I'd left it when I went to bed an hour ago. Who was filming this? Where was the camera? I got up, went to my living room, turned on all the lights, started searching. Checked the smoke detector, nothing. Checked the air vents, the shelves, behind picture frames, no cameras, nothing obvious. Went back to my bedroom, checked the stream on my phone. The living room on screen now had all the lights on. I was watching myself search for cameras in real time, just not visible because I was in the bedroom. This was insane. Someone had hidden a camera in my apartment and was streaming it. But why and how? I called the police, explained the situation. They sent an officer over, a young guy who looked skeptical from the start. You found a live stream of your apartment? Yes, here. I showed him my phone. The stream was still going, still showing my living room. He looked at it, frowning. This could be any apartment. It's mine. Look, that's my coffee table. That's my bookshelf. Same arrangement, same furniture. Could be a still image. Could be footage from before you moved in. Could be anything. It's live. Watch. I walked into the living room, waved my arms, went back to the bedroom, showed him the phone. There I was on screen, waving. His expression changed. Okay, that's definitely your apartment. We need to find that camera. We searched for an hour. He checked places I hadn't thought of. Inside light fixtures, behind outlet covers, inside the TV. Nothing. No camera, no transmitter, no recording device. I don't understand, he said finally. The angle suggests it's mounted high, probably ceiling height. but there's nothing up there. So what do I do? File a formal report. We can have a tech team come check for hidden devices. But I'm not gonna lie, if we can't find it, there's not much we can do. Could be someone hacked your devices, using your own webcam or phone camera somehow. My laptop's in the bedroom. Phone's with me. This is being filmed from a fixed position in the living room. He didn't have answers. Gave me a case number. Said someone would follow up. Left looking confused and concerned. I sat in my bedroom with the door closed, watching the live stream. 0 viewers still. Just me, watching my own empty living room. The timestamp kept updating. 2:47 a.m., 2:48 a.m. Definitely live. I should have left. Should have grabbed essentials and gone to a friend's place. But I was angry, violated, stubborn. This was my apartment. I wasn't going to be driven out by some pervert with a hidden camera. I stayed up watching the stream. Nothing happened. Just my empty living room, static and quiet. Around 4 a.m., I finally fell asleep with my phone still on, the stream still playing. Woke up around 9 a.m., checked my phone. The stream was still going, still 0 viewers besides me. My living room, now in daylight from the windows. I got up, made coffee, went about my morning routine, kept checking the stream. There I was, moving around my apartment, visible from that high fixed angle, doing normal things, making breakfast, checking my email, getting ready for work. It felt surreal, watching myself live my life from a third-person perspective, like being in a video game, seeing your character from an overhead view. I went to work, taught my classes. I was a high school English teacher and spent lunch break watching the stream. My empty apartment, nothing happening, just furniture and sunlight moving across the floor. Left a comment on the stream. I know you're watching my apartment. This is illegal. Take this down. No response. The comment posted, but no one replied. 0 viewers, 0 engagement. Just the stream continuing silently. Called my landlord. Explained someone had installed a camera in my unit. He got defensive immediately. I didn't authorize any cameras. That's not from the building. Can you come check? Maybe during renovations, someone installed something. He agreed to come by that evening. I gave him permission to enter while I was at work. Said I'd leave the door unlocked. Wanted him to search in daylight, see if he could find anything. Watched the stream during my afternoon classes. Saw my landlord enter around 2 p.m. Watched him search my apartment, checking the same places I'd checked. He spent 40 minutes looking, found nothing. Sent me a text. No cameras here. Maybe check your devices. Could be malware. But it wasn't malware. The stream showed details no device of mine could capture. The angle was wrong for my laptop, wrong for my phone. This was a hidden camera somewhere in my apartment. Had to be. That evening, I brought in a tech-savvy friend. Her name was Zoe. Worked in IT, knew about surveillance equipment and networking. She came over with a RF detector, something that could find wireless transmitters. If there's a camera transmitting video, this should pick it up, she said, sweeping the device around my living room. Nothing. No signal. The detector stayed silent. That's weird. Wireless cameras emit a signal. If we're not picking anything up, maybe it's wired, using my internet connection. She checked my router, my network settings. No unauthorized devices. Nothing's connected to your Wi-Fi except your laptop and phone. Then how is it streaming? She looked at the video on my phone, studying it carefully. The angle, the quality. This is definitely surveillance footage, but I can't figure out how it's being transmitted. It's like the camera doesn't exist. After she left, I sat in my living room staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out where the camera could be. Had to be ceiling mounted based on the angle, but we'd checked everywhere. Smoke detector, light fixtures, ceiling tiles, nothing. Unless I grabbed a ladder from the closet, set it up in the exact spot where the camera would need to be to get this angle. Climbed up, examined the ceiling carefully. There, a tiny hole, barely visible, maybe 2 millimeters across, in the center of the ceiling, exactly where a camera lens would need to be. I stuck my finger in the hole. It went up about half an inch, then stopped. Hit something solid, something metal. There was a camera above my ceiling, in the crawl space or attic or whatever was up there, filming down through this tiny hole. But I lived on the 4th floor. There was another apartment above me. There shouldn't be a crawl space. I called my landlord again. There's something above my ceiling, a camera filming down through a hole. That's impossible. Unit 5B is directly above you. There's no space between floors. Then how is someone filming through my ceiling? I don't know, but I'll have maintenance check it tomorrow. Tomorrow wasn't good enough. I grabbed my tools, dragged the ladder into position, and started prying at the ceiling tile directly around the hole. The tile came away easily. Behind it was insulation, beams, the usual construction materials. And mounted to a beam, pointing down through the tiny hole, was a camera. Small, professional looking, with a lens aimed directly at my living room. There was a wire running from it, disappearing into the insulation toward the wall. I tried to pull it down, but it was secured too well. Instead, I covered the lens with duct tape, checked the stream on my phone. The image went black. Stream offline message appeared. I'd found it. Finally. After hours of searching, I'd found the fucking camera. Called the police back. Told them I'd located it. They said they'd send someone in the morning to remove it and investigate. I should leave it in place, not tamper with evidence. I left the duct tape over the lens, replaced the ceiling tile, felt a small sense of victory. At least I'd stopped them from watching. That night, I slept better than I had in 2 days. The stream was offline. The camera was blocked. Tomorrow the police would handle it. Woke up around 3 a.m. to my phone buzzing. Alert notification. The stream was live again. I grabbed my phone, confused. I'd covered the camera. How was it streaming? Opened the app. The stream was back. Same living room view, same angle. But the image was clear now, no duct tape visible. I got up, went to my living room, climbed the ladder, checked the ceiling. The tile was undisturbed. I removed it, checked the camera. The duct tape was gone. The lens was clear, clean. Like I'd never covered it. But I'd definitely covered it. 6 hours ago. I'd watched the stream go black. Someone had been in my apartment while I was sleeping. I'd climbed up here, removed the tape, replaced the ceiling tile exactly as it was. My hands were shaking as I covered the lens again, this time with multiple layers of duct tape, then a piece of cardboard, then more tape. Made sure it was completely sealed. Checked the stream. Black. Offline. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. Just sat in my living room with all the lights on, watching the ceiling, watching the stream status on my phone, waiting to see if it would happen again. It didn't. The stream stayed offline. By morning, I was exhausted, but the camera was still covered. The police came at 9 a.m. 2 officers, plus a tech person to document the camera. They climbed up, examined it, photographed it. This is professional equipment, the tech said. Not cheap, definitely installed intentionally. Can you trace where the signal is going? We'll try. But if they're using encryption or routing through VPNs, it'll be difficult. They removed the camera, bagged it as evidence, patched the hole in my ceiling, said they'd investigate, see if they could find who installed it. How long has this been here? I asked. The tech examined the camera. Based on the dust accumulation, the wear on the mounting bracket, I'd say at least 6 months, maybe longer. 6 months. Someone had been watching me for 6 months, watching me sleep, eat, live my life, streaming it to 0 viewers on YouTube. Why? What about the person who entered my apartment last night? I covered the lens. Someone uncovered it while I was sleeping. The officers exchanged glances. Your door was locked? Yes, deadbolt and everything. No signs of forced entry? No. Do you have any cameras of your own? Something that might have caught whoever came in? No, just the one they installed. They said they'd dust for fingerprints, check building security footage, but they didn't sound optimistic. After they left, I checked YouTube. The stream was gone. User account deleted or the stream taken down. No trace of it except screenshots I'd taken. I should have felt relieved. The camera was gone. The stream was down. It was over, but I couldn't shake the feeling that someone had been in my apartment while I slept, had touched my ceiling, removed tape I'd placed, had been feet away from my bedroom door while I was unconscious and vulnerable. I called a locksmith, got all my locks changed, installed a chain lock and a security bar for the door, bought my own security camera, a legitimate one, and set it up pointing at my front door. That night, I watched my own security footage, watched myself come home, make dinner, watch TV, normal evening routine. Around midnight, I went to bed. My camera kept recording the empty living room. Nothing happened for hours. Then at 3 a.m., something appeared in the frame. Not someone entering, not the door opening, just a figure standing in my living room, like they'd materialized there. Humanoid but wrong, proportions off, features blurry even though the camera quality was good. The figure stood there for several minutes, just standing, facing the camera. Then it turned and looked up at the ceiling, at the spot where the old camera had been. It reached up toward the patched hole, its arm extended impossibly long, fingers touching the ceiling. It stood like that for a moment, then slowly lowered its arm, turned back to face my camera, stood there, motionless, for another minute. Then it was gone. Just gone. No exit, no movement toward the door. One frame it was there. The next frame, the living room, was empty. I watched the footage over and over, zoomed in on the figure. Couldn't make out any features, just a dark, humanoid shape with wrong proportions. Too tall, too thin, arms too long. Not quite human, but nothing else either. I called the police again, showed them the footage. They looked at it, looked at each other, looked uncomfortable. Could be a technical glitch, one officer suggested. Shadow from outside, light playing tricks. That's not a shadow. That's a figure in my apartment for 5 minutes. Was anything stolen? Any signs of break-in? No, but look at it. That's not a person. I don't know what that is. They took a copy of the footage, said they'd file it with the report, but I could tell they didn't know what to do with it. How do you investigate something that couldn't exist? I stayed with Zoe for a few days, told her about the footage, showed it to her. She watched it silently, her expression getting more disturbed with each loop. That's not a person, she said finally. The proportions are wrong. The way it moves, or doesn't move, it's like it's not quite there. So what is it? I don't know, but I don't think you should go back to that apartment. I have a lease. I can't just leave. Break it. Lose the deposit. Whatever. That footage that's not something you want in your home. She was right, but I was stubborn, broke, frustrated. I'd already changed the locks, installed my own security. Wasn't I safe now? I went back to my apartment after a week. The police hadn't found anything useful. The camera they'd removed had been wiped clean, no fingerprints. The footage I'd shown them was classified as unexplained and essentially ignored. The building manager had no record of anyone accessing my unit. Security footage from the hallways showed no one entering or leaving my apartment on the night the duct tape was removed. So who, or what, had been there? I kept my security camera running 24/7, reviewed the footage every morning. For 2 weeks, nothing happened. Normal apartment, normal life. I started to relax, started to think maybe it was over. Then I found another live stream. Same random YouTube account, different string of numbers. Streaming my apartment again, same angle, same view. But I'd removed that camera. The police had it in evidence. I checked my ceiling. The hole was still patched. No new camera visible. But somehow, something was still filming. I covered every possible camera location with tape. Ceiling, walls, vents, fixtures. My apartment looked insane. Duct tape everywhere. But the stream continued. Clear image. No tape visible on screen. The camera wasn't in my apartment. Couldn't be. We'd searched too many times, found nothing but that one camera which was now gone. So where was it filming from? I watched the stream and my own security camera side by side. The live stream showed my living room from that high angle. My security camera showed the same room from door level. They matched. Same furniture, same lighting, same everything. But the angles were different. Then I noticed something. On the live stream, I could see myself. See my security camera's footage showing me. But on my security camera, I could see my laptop playing the live stream. We were creating a feedback loop. The stream was showing my camera was showing the stream, on and on, images within images. But that didn't explain where the stream was coming from. Unless... I checked the stream's metadata, something I should have done days ago. The resolution, the frame rate, the quality. It matched my security camera exactly. The live stream wasn't from a hidden camera in my apartment. It was from my security camera. Somehow, my own camera was streaming to YouTube without my knowledge, but I'd checked the settings, the connections, nothing unauthorized. It was only saving locally, not uploading anywhere. I unplugged my security camera. The stream stayed live. Still showed my apartment, same angle, same view. I turned off my Wi-Fi. The stream continued. I killed the power to my entire apartment. The stream kept going. That's when I understood. The stream wasn't coming from my apartment. It was coming from somewhere else. Somewhere that looked exactly like my apartment, had the same furniture, the same arrangement, but wasn't actually here. I was watching a stream of a place that didn't exist. A copy of my apartment that existed only digitally, only in the space between cameras and screens. And that figure I'd seen on my camera, it hadn't entered my apartment. It had been in that other space, that digital mirror, looking back at me through the lens. I moved out the next day, broke my lease, lost my deposit, didn't care. Couldn't stay in that apartment anymore. Couldn't sleep knowing something on the other side of some digital mirror was watching, copying, maintaining a space that mimicked mine. The stream stayed up for another month. I checked it sometimes. Morbid curiosity. It showed my old apartment, now empty. No furniture, no decorations. Just empty rooms in that same grainy live stream quality. Sometimes that figure would appear, standing in the empty living room, looking up at where the ceiling camera used to be, like it was waiting for something to come back. The stream eventually went offline. Account deleted or taken down, I don't know which. I'm in a new apartment now. No cameras, no live streams, no mysterious accounts. But I can't shake the feeling that somewhere, in some digital space I can't access, there's a copy of this apartment too. A mirror that exists in code and data, being watched by 0 viewers, and something that isn't quite human. To this day, I don't know what I witnessed. Was it a glitch? Some strange interaction between technology and reality that created a feedback loop? Or was something else there? Something that exists in the spaces between our world and the digital one we've created? I don't search for streams of my apartment anymore. Don't look for that account or others like it. Don't want to know if it's still out there, still watching, still maintaining its mirror world. If you find a live stream of your own home, 0 viewers, no explanation, don't investigate. Don't try to find the camera. Don't watch it. Because some things that watch us aren't in our world. They're in the reflections, the copies, the digital spaces that mimic reality but aren't quite real. And once they start watching, they never really stop. They just wait in the spaces between. in the mirrors we've created with our cameras and screens, watching through lenses that don't exist, in apartments that are and aren't there, forever streaming to an audience of zero, plus whatever's on the other side, looking back. Story 3, The Bridge That Sang in the Wind. Growing up in rural Oregon, the old Millbrook Bridge was just part of the landscape, a rusted iron structure built in 1923, spanning the creek that ran through town. Most people took the newer bypass route, but locals still used it as a shortcut, including me on my daily commute to the community college 20 minutes away. I was 19 that autumn, living with my parents while taking classes, saving money, figuring out what I wanted to do with my life. Standard small-town kid trajectory. The bridge was just a bridge. Old, creaky, nothing special, until the day I heard it sing. It was late October, one of those gray mornings where fog clings to everything. I was running late for class, speeding down the back road toward the bridge. Wind was picking up, pushing through the valley, making the trees sway. As I drove onto the bridge, I heard it, a sound like nothing I'd experienced before. Not quite music, not quite machinery. The wind was moving through the bridge's iron beams and cables in a way that created tones, deep, resonant, almost harmonic, like the bridge itself was humming. I slowed down, rolled down my window to hear it better. The sound was beautiful in a strange, unsettling way. Multiple notes at once, shifting as the wind changed direction, creating chords that shouldn't have been possible from random metal and air. It lasted maybe 30 seconds. Then the wind shifted and the sound stopped. Just regular traffic noise and creek water flowing below. I mentioned it to my roommate at lunch. Her name was Casey, studying music theory, always interested in weird acoustic phenomena. "Oh yeah, that's aeolian tones," she said. "Wind harps work the same way. Air moving across wires or cables creates vibration at specific frequencies. Bridges do it sometimes." But this sounded different, like actual music, like a song. Brains are good at finding patterns. You probably heard random tones and your brain organized them into something that sounded musical. Made sense. I let it go, didn't think much more about it. But I kept hearing it. Not every day, only when the wind was strong and coming from a specific direction. Northwest usually, bringing air down from the mountains. And each time the sound was the same. Same tones, same progression, not random at all. It was definitely a melody, rising and falling in a pattern that repeated. About 40 seconds long. Then it would loop. The same song, over and over, played by wind through metal. I started recording it on my phone, played it back for Casey. She listened, her expression shifting from dismissive to confused. That's weird. That's definitely a melodic structure. That shouldn't happen naturally." "So what is it?" "I don't know. But bridges don't just accidentally create the same melody repeatedly. There'd have to be some specific arrangement of cables and beams, some precise spacing that creates those exact frequencies." "Could someone have designed it that way? In 1923? I mean, maybe, but why? And why would no one know about it?" She was right. If the bridge had been intentionally designed to create music, someone would have documented it. It would be famous, a tourist attraction. But Millbrook Bridge was just an old, forgotten piece of infrastructure. Over the next few weeks, I listened more carefully, started identifying the pattern. It was definitely a melody, but not one I recognized. Not a folk song or a hymn or anything I'd heard before. Just this haunting tune that the bridge sang when conditions were right. Then I started hearing words. Not clear words, not lyrics, but the pattern of the melody had spaces where words would go, syllables that matched the rhythm, like someone had written a song with this tune, and the bridge was remembering it. I mentioned this to my dad one evening. He'd lived in Millbrook his whole life, knew all the local history. "The singing bridge?" He paused. "Yeah, I remember people talking about that when I was a kid. Old-timers said it was sad, said it was mourning. Mourning what? There was an accident. Long time ago, maybe 1940s or 50s. A car went off the bridge during a storm. Woman and her daughter drowned in the creek. After that, people said the bridge sang when the wind blew certain ways, sang a sad song. Did anyone ever figure out what the song was? Don't think so. Most people thought it was just wind noise, imagination. Why are you asking? Just curious. I've been hearing it on my way to school. He looked uncomfortable. Maybe take the bypass for a while. That bridge is old. Probably not safe anymore anyway. But I didn't take the bypass. I kept crossing the bridge, kept listening. The melody was stuck in my head now, playing in quiet moments, haunting and beautiful and sad. I started researching the accident my dad mentioned, found old newspaper archives at the library. October 1947, a woman named Margaret Hayes and her 8-year-old daughter Elizabeth, driving home from town during a storm, lost control on the bridge, crashed through the railing. Car sank in the swollen creek. Both died. The article mentioned that Margaret was a music teacher, taught piano to local children, well loved in the community. The funeral was attended by over 100 people. There was a photo with the article. Margaret and Elizabeth, taken a few months before the accident. They were smiling, sitting at a piano together. Margaret's hands were positioned on the keys, Elizabeth leaning against her shoulder, looking proud. Something about the photo made my chest tight. The love between them was visible, tangible, and then they were gone, drowned in cold water beneath the bridge I crossed every day. I wondered if the bridge remembered them, if somehow the violence of that night, the grief of that loss, had imprinted on the metal and cables, if what I was hearing was an echo of something Margaret had played, some song she'd loved. Casey helped me transcribe the melody. We sat in her car on the bridge during a windy afternoon, recording while she hummed along, identifying the notes. Brought it back to her dorm, wrote it out as sheet music. "It's pretty," she said, playing it on her keyboard. Melancholy. Definitely sounds like something from that era. Early 20th century composition style. Do you recognize it? No. But that doesn't mean anything. There were thousands of songs written back then that aren't famous, aren't recorded. Could be something she wrote herself. Could be something obscure. I made copies of the sheet music, posted it online in music history forums, asking if anyone recognized it. Sent it to music professors at universities, to historians specializing in American folk songs. No one recognized it. The melody was unique, only existed in the wind through the Millbrook Bridge. I started visiting the bridge more often, not just crossing it, but parking nearby, sitting in my car during windy days, listening, trying to understand what I was hearing. The sound was different now that I knew the story. It didn't just sound like music. It sounded like grief, like longing, like someone calling for something they'd lost, like a mother calling for her daughter. One evening in November, I was sitting there during a particularly strong wind. The bridge was singing clearly, the melody looping over and over. I closed my eyes, let the sound fill the car, and I heard words, not clear, not spoken, but implied in the rhythm, in the spaces between notes, my brain filling in what should be there based on the pattern. Come back to me. That's what the melody was saying, over and over. Come back to me. A mother's desperate plea, trapped in metal and wind and the space between life and death, still calling for her daughter 70 years later. I started crying, sitting alone in my car by the side of the road, crying for a woman I'd never met, for a child long dead, for a grief that had somehow become permanent. I couldn't stop going back. The bridge had become an obsession. I'd drive there on my days off, sit through storms, record the sound. try to understand it better. Casey worried about me. This isn't healthy. It's just wind and metal. You're projecting meaning onto random noise. It's not random. You said so yourself. It's a specific melody. Okay, fine. Maybe someone designed it that way, but that doesn't mean it's a ghost or a message or whatever you're thinking. Then what is it? She didn't have an answer. My parents noticed too, asked why I was spending so much time by the old bridge, if something was wrong, if I was depressed. I'm fine. I'm just interested in it. The acoustics, the history. It's not safe there, my mom said. The bridge is old. The county's talking about tearing it down next year. They can't do that. Why not? No one uses it anymore. It's a liability. The thought of them destroying the bridge filled me with panic. If they tore it down, the song would be gone. Margaret's song, her voice, calling for Elizabeth. The only thing left of them would disappear. I started a petition. Save the Millbrook Bridge, historic structure. Got signatures from people in town, posted about it online, contacted the county commissioners. Most people thought I was being sentimental about an old bridge, but enough agreed to delay the demolition. Why do you care so much? My dad asked. It's just a bridge. It's more than that. It's a memorial. It's remembering something important. He looked at me strangely. You've been spending too much time alone. Maybe take a break from school, get a job, be around people more. I didn't take a break. I kept going, kept listening. The melody was part of me now. I'd wake up with it in my head, hum it while driving, play it on my guitar when I couldn't sleep. Casey recorded herself playing it on piano, sent me the file. Here, now you can listen to it without sitting by a bridge in the cold. Maybe that'll help you let it go. But the piano version wasn't the same. It was pretty, technically correct, but it didn't have the resonance, the depth. The wind moving through metal created overtones, harmonics that couldn't be replicated on a regular instrument. The bridge's version was alive in a way Casey's recording wasn't. December came. The wind picked up, storms rolling through the valley regularly. The bridge sang almost every day now. I'd cross it on my way to school, hearing the melody rise and fall, feeling that ache in my chest. One afternoon during a particularly strong storm, I parked by the bridge again. The sound was louder than I'd ever heard it. The wind was fierce, pushing through the cables with enough force to make the whole structure vibrate. I got out of my car, stood on the bridge itself, rain soaking through my jacket, wind nearly knocking me over. The sound was overwhelming. Not just the melody, but all the harmonics, all the resonance. The bridge was singing at full volume, desperate and beautiful and sad. And I heard her, not just words implied by rhythm, a voice, faint, distorted by wind and rain and distance, but real. Elizabeth, come back. Please come back. Margaret Hayes, still calling for her daughter, still trapped in the moment of losing her, the worst moment of her life, frozen in time, repeating whenever the wind blew right. She's gone, I said aloud, though I knew it was useless. She's been gone for 70 years. You need to let her go. The wind didn't stop. The melody didn't change. Just kept playing, kept calling, kept mourning. I thought about Margaret, music teacher, mother, woman whose last moments were spent trying to save her daughter from drowning, who probably died calling Elizabeth's name, reaching for her in the dark water. That pain hadn't faded, hadn't healed, had instead soaked into the metal of the bridge above where they died, turning structure into instrument, turning grief into song. I'm sorry, I whispered. I'm so sorry. The storm intensified. Lightning cracked overhead, thunder rolling through the valley. The bridge's song became almost frantic, the wind howling through it with increasing force. And then, just for a moment, I heard a different sound, a child's voice, faint and distant, barely audible over the storm. "Mama?" My heart stopped. Elizabeth, answering her mother's call. The two voices overlapped, Margaret's desperate plea, Elizabeth's confused response. Mother and daughter, separated by death, briefly reunited in sound and wind in the space between worlds. Then the wind shifted. The melody changed, softened, became something else. Not frantic, not desperate, peaceful, resolved, like a lullaby. The storm was passing, the rain slowed, the wind calmed, and the bridge sang one last time. The same melody, but different now. Not calling, not mourning, just remembering. Then silence. I stood there in the rain for a long time, soaked and cold and feeling something I couldn't name. The bridge creaked around me, settling, water dripping from cables, but it didn't sing. The wind was still blowing, still moving through the structure, but no sound came, no melody. It was done. Whatever had been trapped there, whatever had been calling out for 70 years, had finally found what it was looking for. I drove home in a daze. Didn't tell anyone what I'd heard. Who would believe me? I barely believed it myself. But I went back the next day, and the next. The bridge never sang again. The wind would blow, sometimes from the same northwest direction, same speed and force. But the sound was just regular wind noise now. No melody, no pattern, no song. Margaret had found Elizabeth. The calling had stopped. The county commissioners voted to preserve the bridge 2 weeks later. Historical significance, they said, though they couldn't quite articulate what that significance was. Just a feeling that it should be saved. Something important had happened there. They were right, of course. Something important had happened. A mother and daughter had died. And then, decades later, they'd found each other again. I graduated that spring, moved to Portland, started a new job, began a new chapter. But I still think about the bridge, about Margaret Hayes and Elizabeth, about the song that grief created and how it finally ended. I've tried to explain it to people over the years. The bridge that sang, the melody in the wind, the voices I heard that December storm. Most people think it's a nice story, romanticized memory, the kind of thing that gets more elaborate each time it's told. But Casey believes me. She still has the sheet music, the transcription of the melody. Sometimes she plays it, says it makes her sad in a way she can't explain. It's like the music knows something we don't, she told me once. Like it's seen something we haven't. It has. It saw a mother die trying to save her daughter, saw that grief become permanent. And then somehow, it saw them reunite. To this day, I don't know if what I experienced was real or if I imagined it, if the bridge truly sang with Margaret's voice, or if I projected meaning onto random acoustics, if I really heard Elizabeth answer, or if that was just thunder and rain and desperation to believe in something beyond death. But I know what I felt. I know the melody changed that night. Know it went from desperate to peaceful. Know that afterward, the singing stopped completely. Something resolved itself during that storm. Something found completion. Last year, I drove back to Millbrook. Wanted to see the bridge again, see if anything had changed. It's still there, preserved now, painted and maintained. A small plaque has been added, mentioning the Hayes family tragedy, acknowledging that the bridge is a memorial as well as a piece of infrastructure. I stood on it for a while. The wind was blowing, strong northwest wind, just like the ones that used to make it sing. But there was no sound, just regular wind through metal, nothing remarkable. "Thank you for letting me hear you," I said quietly. "Thank you for sharing your song." No response. Of course not. Margaret wasn't there anymore. Neither was Elizabeth. They'd moved on, found each other, found peace. The bridge was just a bridge now. If you drive through rural Oregon, If you pass through Millbrook and see the old iron bridge, stop for a moment. Stand there, listen to the wind. You probably won't hear anything unusual, just creaking metal and flowing water. But know that once, when the wind blew right, that bridge sang a song of grief and love and desperate longing, sang a mother's voice calling for her lost daughter. And on one December night, during a fierce storm, it sang a reunion. It sang two voices finding each other across the divide between life and death. The bridge that sang in the wind is silent now. Its song is finished. But I still remember the melody, still hear it sometimes in quiet moments. That haunting tune that was both beautiful and heartbreaking. And I'm grateful I was there to witness it, to hear Margaret's song, to know that even grief that deep, even loss that permanent, can eventually find resolution. The bridge doesn't sing anymore, but somewhere, I like to think, a mother and daughter are together. And that's a better ending than any song could have. Story 4, The Elevator That Skipped Floor 9. I got the job at Merrick & Associates in downtown Denver right out of grad school. Corporate consulting firm, decent pay, room for advancement, the kind of place my parents were proud to tell their friends about. I was 24, eager to prove myself, willing to work the long hours everyone complained about. The office was on the 11th floor of the Hartley building, one of those 1970s high-rises with bronze-tinted windows and dated interior design. 23 floors total, mostly office space, a few retail shops on the ground level. Nothing remarkable about it except the rent was cheap and the location was central. My first day, HR gave me the tour. Conference rooms, break room, cubicle assignments, standard corporate orientation. But when we were leaving for lunch, waiting for the elevator, my HR guide, a woman named Patricia, pressed the button and said something odd. Just so you know, the elevators here skip floor 9. If you press it, nothing happens. It's been like that for years. Why? Building management thing. I think it's vacant or under renovation. Don't worry about it. We're on 11. I thought it was strange but didn't push. Companies had weird quirks. Maybe floor 9 was storage or something. Over the next few weeks, I noticed other things about the elevators. There were 3 of them in the main lobby, and they all had the same issue. No button for floor 9. Not a button that didn't work, but no button at all. Just a gap in the panel where 9 should be. The numbers jumped from 8 to 10, and when the elevator passed floor 9 on its way up or down, it didn't stop. Just went straight through, the floor indicator skipping from 8 to 10, or vice versa. You could feel it, though, that slight pause in momentum, like the elevator was acknowledging a floor existed, even if it wasn't stopping. I asked my coworker about it over lunch. His name was Jason, been at the company for 3 years. Oh yeah, the 9th floor thing. Weird, right? What's actually on that floor? No idea. I've never seen anyone go there. Some people say it's sealed off, some say it's used for building maintenance. One guy told me it's where they store old records, but that might just be bullshit. Has anyone tried to access it? How would you? There's no button. I guess you could take the stairs, but the stairwell door is probably locked. I couldn't let it go. Something about a missing floor bothered me. Buildings didn't just skip floors. And if it was for maintenance or storage, why not just have a button that required a key? That evening, I stayed late working on a project. Around 8 p.m., most people had left. The office was quiet, fluorescent lights humming, the city visible through the windows. I decided to check the stairwell. The stairwell door was at the end of our floor's hallway. I pushed through it into the concrete echo chamber of the emergency stairs. Started walking down, counting floors. 11, 10, 9. Wait. There was a door for floor 9, a regular door, gray metal, with a 9 painted on it. Not locked, not sealed, just a normal stairwell exit. I tried the handle, locked, but not with any special lock, just a standard door handle that didn't turn. I could see through the small window in the door, a dark hallway, Emergency lights providing faint illumination. It looked like every other floor. Hallway, office doors, carpet. Nothing special. Nothing that explained why the elevators skipped it. I went back to work, but the mystery nagged at me. Over the next week, I asked more people about Floor 9. Got different answers from everyone. It's abandoned. It's a tax thing, some loophole about unoccupied floors. I heard someone died there and they sealed it off. The building owner uses it for personal storage. No one actually knew. Everyone had a theory, but no facts. Then I met the building security guard. His name was Martin, older guy, probably in his 60s, worked nights. I ran into him in the lobby one evening when I was leaving late. "You're new here," he said. "Merrick and Associates?" "Yeah, started last month. Working late. They got you on the grind already. Just trying to keep up." I paused. "Can I ask you something about the building?" "Sure." "Floor 9. What's up with that?" His expression changed, became guarded. "Why are you asking?" "Just curious. The elevators skip it. No one seems to know why. Best to leave it alone." "But what's actually there?" He studied me for a moment. "You really want to know?" "Yes." He sighed, looked around the empty lobby. Floor 9 exists. It's a full floor. Offices just like everywhere else. But it's been empty for 15 years. Why? Something happened there. People who worked on that floor started having problems. Mental health issues, accidents, strange occurrences. The company that leased it went bankrupt. Several employees had breakdowns. After they left, the building owner decided to just leave it vacant. Easier than dealing with whatever was wrong with it. What kind of strange occurrences? I don't know the details. I only started working here 10 years ago, but I've been on that floor. Have to do security checks sometimes. It's not right up there. Feels wrong. Cold even when the heat's on. You hear things. See things move when nothing's there. You think it's haunted? I think something's wrong with it. Whether you call that haunted or bad energy or cursed doesn't matter. Point is, there's a reason the elevators skip it. People don't want to go there. But you have to check it. Once a month. I walk through, make sure no one's broken in, make sure nothing's leaking or broken. I don't linger. Could I go with you sometime? He looked at me like I was crazy. Why would you want to do that? I'm curious. I want to see what's up there. No, bad idea. Trust me, you don't want to mess with that floor. But I'd planted the seed. Over the next 2 weeks, I kept running into Martin, kept asking questions, kept expressing interest. Finally, he agreed to let me come with him on his next check. One time, he said, you see it, you satisfy your curiosity, then you leave it alone. Deal? Deal. We went up on a Friday night around 11 p.m. The building was almost empty, just a few people on various floors working late. Martin had a key card that allowed elevator access to floor 9. He swiped it, pressed a button that appeared when the card was active, and the elevator lurched into motion. We passed 8. The elevator slowed, and I expected it to skip to 10 like it always did. But it stopped. The doors opened onto floor 9. The hallway looked normal. Beige carpet, white walls, fluorescent lights. But Martin was right. It felt wrong immediately. The temperature was noticeably colder. The air smelled stale, undisturbed. And there was a quality to the silence that was oppressive, heavy. "Stay close," Martin said. "Don't touch anything. We're just walking through." We stepped out. The elevator doors closed behind us. The hallway extended in both directions, office doors lining both sides. Everything looked frozen in time. Desks visible through glass doors, chairs pushed in, papers still on desks like people had just stepped out for a moment. "This was a marketing firm," Martin said quietly. "Before they left, they were doing well. Then things started happening. People reported feeling watched, computer problems, electronics failing. A woman fell down the stairs, broke her leg. A guy had a psychotic break, started screaming about shadows following him. Within 6 months, half the staff had quit. What caused it? No one knows. Nothing obvious. The company tried to push through it, but eventually they couldn't keep employees. The lease was broken, they moved out, and the floor's been empty since. We walked down the hallway, our footsteps muffled by the old carpet. The emergency lights cast everything in a dim, sickly glow. Every office looked the same. Abandoned mid-workday, papers on desks, computers from 2009, motivational posters still on walls. In one office, a calendar was still turned to September 2009. The last month the company had been here. "Do you feel that?" Martin asked. I did. A sensation of being watched, not from any particular direction, just an overall feeling of attention focused on us. Eyes that weren't there, observing our presence. "Someone's here," I said. "No one's here." That's the problem, but yeah, it feels like that. We kept walking. The hallway seemed longer than it should be, stretching endlessly in the dim light. I started to feel dizzy, disoriented. The temperature kept dropping. I could see my breath now. Then I heard it. A voice, faint, coming from one of the offices. "Help me." I stopped. "Did you hear that?" Martin's face was pale. "We need to leave." "Someone said help me. There's someone here." "There's no one here. Come on." But I was already moving toward the office where the voice had come from. The door was slightly ajar. I pushed it open. The office was like all the others. Desk, chair, computer, filing cabinet. But on the desk was a photo, a professional headshot of a woman, maybe 30s, smiling at the camera. "That's Rebecca Torres," Martin said from behind me. "She worked here. She's the one who fell down the stairs." "Did she die?" "No, but she was never the same. The fall messed her up. Brain injury, I think. She's in a care facility now, has been for years." "Help me!" The voice came again, clearer now. Definitely female, coming from inside this office. I looked around. No one there, just furniture and dust and that oppressive cold. "We're leaving. Now." Martin grabbed my arm, pulled me out of the office. We hurried back toward the elevator. The hallway felt different now, hostile. The lights flickered. I heard footsteps behind us, keeping pace, but when I looked back, no one was there. Martin pressed the elevator call button frantically. It seemed to take forever to arrive. The footsteps got closer. The temperature dropped further. My hands were numb. The elevator dinged, doors opened. We practically fell inside. Martin pressed the button for the lobby. The doors closed and the elevator descended. We didn't speak until we reached the ground floor. "That's why we skipped floor 9, Martin said, his voice shaky. "That's why no one goes there. Whatever happened to that company, whatever affected those people, it's still there, still active, still trying to, I don't know, pull people in, trap them." "What about Rebecca Torres?" "The woman from the photo. You said she's in a care facility?" "Yeah. Why?" "I want to talk to her." It took me a week to track down Rebecca Torres. She was in a long-term care facility on the outskirts of Denver, a place for people with severe brain injuries who needed constant supervision. Her emergency contact was her sister, Maria. I called, explained I worked in the same building where Rebecca had her accident, said I wanted to understand what happened. Maria was hesitant at first, but eventually agreed to let me visit. Rebecca was in her late 40s now, though she looked older. The fall had happened when she was 34. 15 years in a care facility, minimal quality of life, unable to fully communicate or care for herself. "She has good days and bad days," Maria told me as we walked to Rebecca's room. "Sometimes she's alert, sometimes she's not really there. The doctors say the brain injury caused permanent damage. She'll never fully recover. Rebecca was sitting in a chair by the window when we entered. She looked at us without much recognition. Maria sat beside her, took her hand. "Becca, this is someone from your old building. They wanted to ask you about what happened." Rebecca's eyes focused on me. Something shifted in her expression. Fear. "Floor 9, she whispered. "Yes, I work in the same building now. I went up there. I heard your voice asking for help. Still there." Her voice was slurred, difficult to understand. Still trapped. What's trapped there? Me. Part of me. Left it there. When I fell, it stayed. Maria looked uncomfortable. She says things like this sometimes. The doctors say it's confusion from the injury, mixing memory with hallucination. But I didn't think it was confusion. Rebecca's eyes were clear, focused. She knew what she was saying. "What happened on floor 9? I asked gently. "Something wrong with that place. Feeds on fear, makes you see things. I saw something coming toward me in the hallway. Shadow, but solid. It chased me. I ran for the stairs, fell, hit my head." She paused, struggling with the words. "When I woke up, I was here, but part of me stayed there. Part of me never left. How do I help you?" "Can't help. I'm gone, split. This body here, that part there, can't fix it." Maria stood up. "I think this is enough." She's getting upset. But Rebecca grabbed my hand, surprising strength in her grip. "Don't go back. Don't let it trap you too. Floor 9 takes pieces, keeps them, feeds on them." I left the facility shaken. Rebecca believed she'd left part of herself on floor 9, that whatever was there had taken something from her when she fell, kept it, trapped it in that cold, dark space. And if it had happened to her, had it happened to others? I researched the marketing company that had been on floor 9, found articles about their bankruptcy, interviews with former employees. A pattern emerged. 7 people from that company had had serious incidents. Rebecca's fall, a man who'd had a breakdown and was institutionalized, a woman who'd developed early onset dementia, 2 people who'd died in car accidents within months of leaving, another who'd committed suicide. All of them had worked on floor 9. All of them had been affected within a year of being there. Whatever was on that floor, it didn't just scare people. It took something from them, piece by piece, person by person. It was still taking, still feeding, still active. And I'd been there. I'd walked those hallways, heard that voice, felt that presence. Had it taken something from me too? Over the next month, I started having problems. Nothing dramatic at first. Difficulty concentrating, memory lapses, feeling watched all the time, even when I was alone. Trouble sleeping. I'd wake up in the middle of the night convinced someone was in my apartment. Would search every room, find nothing, but still couldn't shake the feeling. Work became difficult. I'd forget conversations I'd had, miss deadlines, lose track of projects. My boss commented on my declining performance. Jason asked if I was okay, if something was going on. "I don't know," I told him honestly. "I don't feel right. Haven't since I went up to floor 9. "You went to floor 9? Why the hell would you do that?" "Curiosity, but I think it was a mistake." "No shit. Everyone knows you don't mess with that floor." "Everyone knows, but no one says anything. You all just let new people walk in here not knowing there's something wrong with this building." "What are we supposed to say?" "Hey, welcome to Merrick and Associates, by the way the 9th floor is cursed. You'd think we were crazy." People need to know. People need to be warned. But warned about what? That going to floor 9 might leave you mentally compromised. That some vague presence might steal pieces of you. I sounded insane even thinking it. I went back to see Martin, found him in the lobby during his night shift. "I need to go back up there," I said. "Absolutely not." Rebecca Torres is in a care facility. She says part of her is still there, trapped. I think the same thing is happening to me. I need to understand it. I need to fix it. You can't fix it. People have tried. The building owner brought in priests, psychics, cleaners. Nothing works. Whatever's there is permanent. Then I need to get my peace back. That's not how it works. You can't just go up there and take back what it took. It doesn't work like that. How do you know? He didn't have an answer. I waited until the next Friday night. Stayed at work late again until the building was almost empty. Took the stairs to floor 9. The door was still locked, but I'd brought tools. Picked the lock. Easier than I expected, like the building wanted me to get in. The hallway was dark, except for emergency lights. Same oppressive cold, same heavy silence. But this time, I wasn't afraid. I was angry. "Give it back," I said aloud. "Whatever you took from me, give it back." The lights flickered. The temperature dropped further. I heard footsteps, multiple sets, coming from all directions. "I know what you are. You feed on people. Take pieces of them. Keep them trapped. But you can't keep me. I won't let you." A shape appeared at the end of the hallway, dark, human-sized, but not quite human. It moved toward me, footsteps echoing. My instinct was to run, but I stood my ground. "I'm not afraid of you. You're nothing, just emptiness trying to fill itself. You have nothing I need." The shape stopped. Behind it, I could see others. 7 of them, I realized. 1 for each person who'd been taken, including Rebecca. They weren't malevolent. They were lost, trapped, stuck in a loop of fear and confusion that had been imprinted on this space 15 years ago. "You can leave," I said. "You don't have to stay here. Whatever keeps you here, let it go." "Can't leave." Rebecca's voice, the one I'd heard before. "Tried. Can't find the way. The elevator. The stairs. Just walk out. We're not really here. Just pieces. Echoes. The real us is somewhere else. This is just what got left behind." I understood then. The fear they'd felt, the trauma of whatever had happened to them had created impressions. Psychic recordings that played on loop, trapped in this space. They weren't really Rebecca and the others. They were what those people had left behind when they fled in terror. "Then stop playing," I said. "Stop repeating. Stop being afraid. It's over. You're not trapped unless you believe you're trapped." The shapes flickered, became less solid. The cold began to lift. The oppressive feeling started to fade. "It's over," I repeated. "You can rest. You can stop." One by one, the shapes disappeared. The hallway became lighter, warmer. The heavy silence lifted, replaced by the normal sounds of a building at night. HVAC, distant traffic, electrical hum. Floor 9 became just a floor, empty, unused, but no longer wrong. I walked back to the stairs, left, closed the door behind me, felt lighter, clearer, like fog had lifted from my mind. The problems I'd been having stopped. My concentration returned, my memory cleared. Whatever piece had been taken, or whatever I'd given to that place by going there and letting fear take hold, I'd reclaimed it. That was 2 years ago. I still work at Merrick and Associates. Floor 9 is still empty, still inaccessible by elevator. But it's different now. Martin says his monthly checks are easier. The space feels normal. No more cold spots, no more voices. The building management is considering leasing it again. Might take a while to find a tenant, but at least it's possible now. I never told anyone what I did that night. How do you explain that you talked 7 traumatic impressions into dissolving? That you reasoned with echoes until they faded? It sounds insane, but I know what happened. That floor had been holding on to fear, replaying trauma, trapping anyone who came near it in the same loop. And someone had to break that loop. Rebecca Torres is still in her care facility, still has brain damage from her fall. But Maria tells me she's better lately, more alert, less agitated. She stopped talking about being trapped, started engaging more with the present. Maybe freeing that echo of her helped somehow. Or maybe it was just coincidence, natural progression of her condition. I don't know. To this day, I don't fully understand what Floor 9 was. A haunting? A recording? Some pocket of trapped emotional energy? The building is old, has seen decades of human life and suffering. Maybe all that accumulated in one place, created something that could affect people who were sensitive to it. If you work in an old building, if there's a floor no one talks about, a space that's avoided without clear explanation, be careful. Don't go looking. Don't feed your curiosity at the expense of your well-being. Some spaces hold trauma, hold fear, hold pieces of people who couldn't escape. And if you're not careful, they'll hold pieces of you too. The elevator still skips floor 9. They never reinstated the button, but it doesn't matter anymore. There's nothing there to skip. Story 5. The house where every door faced east. My wife found the house listing on a Thursday. Victorian style, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, original hardwood floors, in our price range, barely. The photos showed high ceilings, ornate trim work, a wraparound porch. It looked perfect, aside from obvious years of neglect. It's been on the market for 8 months, she said, showing me her phone over dinner. That's weird for this neighborhood, right? Everything else sells in days. Probably needs major work, electrical, plumbing, that kind of thing. The listing says all utilities are functional. Roof was replaced 3 years ago. It's move-in ready. They just dropped the price again. We'd been looking for months, kept getting outbid on everything. The rental market in Portland was insane, and we wanted to buy, wanted something that was ours. This house, despite the low price raising obvious red flags, seemed like our best option. We scheduled a viewing for Saturday morning. The real estate agent met us outside. Her name was Patricia, maybe 50, with a professional smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. She looked tired, or stressed, or both. The Barlow House, she said, gesturing to the building. Built in 1887 by Arthur Barlow, a shipping merchant. It's been through several owners over the years. Why has it been on the market so long? My wife asked. Her name's Jen, and she's more direct than I am. Patricia's smile flickered. Some buyers have found the layout unusual, and there have been some concerns about the property's history. What kind of history? Nothing major, just typical old house things. Maintenance issues, a few owners who didn't stay long. Nothing that affects the structural integrity. That should have been a warning. But we walked in anyway, and I immediately saw why buyers were hesitant. Every door in the house faced east, not the front door. That faced west, opening onto the porch. But every interior door, bedroom doors, bathroom doors, closet doors, all of them opened to the east, swinging inward toward the rising sun direction. You could stand in the hallway and see it clearly. Every doorway was oriented the same way, creating a strange sense of uniformity and wrongness. That's odd, Jen said, noticing it too. Why would someone build it this way? Arthur Barlow was interested in Eastern philosophies, Patricia explained. Feng Shui, that sort of thing. He believed Eastern-facing doors brought positive energy, prosperity. It was a quirk of his design. But it's every door, even closets. He was very committed to his beliefs. We walked through the house. It was beautiful, objectively. The woodwork was incredible. The ceilings were high. The rooms were spacious. But something felt off. Maybe it was just the door thing, or maybe it was something else. A coldness in the air despite it being July, a sense of being watched. though we were the only ones there besides Patricia. Have the previous owners said why they left? I asked. Various reasons. Job relocations, family changes, normal things. How many owners have there been? She hesitated. In the last 15 years? 6 families. 6 families in 15 years. That's almost a new owner every 2 years. Old houses require maintenance. Some people underestimate the commitment. We finished the tour. The house was impressive despite its oddities. The price was right. We could afford it, could start building equity instead of throwing money away on rent. Can we think about it? Jen asked. Of course. But I should tell you there's another couple interested. If you want it, you should put in an offer soon. Classic real estate pressure. Maybe she was lying about the other couple. Maybe not. Either way, we talked about it over lunch. Something's wrong with that house, Jen said. 6 families in 15 years? That's a lot of turnover. Maybe they're renovators. Flip it and sell. Then why has it been on the market for 8 months? If it was a good flip, someone would have grabbed it. She was right. But we were tired of looking, tired of losing bids, tired of our cramped rental. Let's put in an offer, I said. If something's really wrong, the inspection will catch it. Famous last words. Our offer was accepted within 24 hours. The inspection came back mostly clean, some old wiring that wasn't up to current code, a few plumbing issues, nothing major. Nothing that explained the revolving door of owners or the months on the market. We closed in 6 weeks, moved in mid-September, excited and nervous and hopeful. Our first house, our fresh start. The first week was fine. Unpacking, arranging furniture, getting used to the space. The door thing was weird, but you got used to it. You learned to open every door by pulling it toward you from the east side. It became automatic. But I started noticing other things. The way shadows fell in the hallways, always stretching west. The way sound echoed differently depending on which direction you faced. The coldness that persisted even with the heat on, especially in the early morning when the sun came up. And the dreams. Both of us started having them around the same time. Dreams about walking through the house, opening doors, each one leading somewhere that wasn't the next room. Dark spaces beyond the doorframes, empty voids that shouldn't exist in the middle of a house. It's just adjustment, Jen said when I mentioned it. New house anxiety. It'll pass. But it didn't pass. The dreams got worse, more vivid, more specific. I'd dream about opening the bedroom door and seeing nothing beyond it. Just darkness, vast and empty. I'd step through anyway, compelled by dream logic, and find myself falling through void. I'd wake up sweating, disoriented, needing a moment to remember where I was. Jen had similar dreams, different details, same general theme, doors that led nowhere, spaces that didn't match reality. Then things started moving. Small things at first, keys not where we'd left them, phones relocated to different rooms, books we'd shelved appearing on tables, easy to dismiss as memory errors, as misplacing things during the chaos of settling in. But it kept happening, more frequently, more obviously. I'd set something down, turn around, and it would be gone. Would find it later in a room I hadn't been to, behind a door I hadn't opened. The house is doing it, Jen said one evening, half joking but not really. Barlow's ghost is moving our stuff. Houses don't move things. Then we're both losing our minds at the same rate. I didn't have a better explanation. We started noticing patterns. Things moved east, always east. If you left something on the west side of a room, you'd find it on the east side later. If you left it near the front door, it would migrate toward the back of the house, everything drifting in one direction, pulled by some invisible current. And the doors. They started opening on their own. Not dramatically, not slamming or anything horror movie obvious. Just slowly drifting open, especially at night. I'd close all the bedroom doors before bed, wake up to find them standing open, every single one, facing east like they were expecting something. I installed new locks on the doors, better latches, stronger mechanisms. They still opened. The locks would be undone, handles turned, doors swinging slowly inward toward the east. "We should talk to the previous owners," I said. "Find out if they experienced this." Jen looked uncomfortable. What if they think we're crazy? What if they experienced the same thing and can tell us what's happening? We tracked down the most recent owners through public records, a couple named David and Lisa Park, who'd lived here for 18 months before selling. Jen found Lisa on Facebook, sent her a message. Lisa replied the next day, "I was wondering when you'd reach out. Yes, the house has issues. Can we talk on the phone?" We called her that evening. She sounded relieved to be discussing it, like she'd been waiting for someone to ask. "It started about 3 months after we moved in," she said. "Small things at first. Doors opening, items moving. We thought it was just an old house settling, or that we were being forgetful. But it got worse." "Worse how?" "The dreams." "Did you have the dreams yet?" "Yes," Jen said. "About doors leading nowhere." "Then you're on the same timeline we were. That's when it really starts. The dreams are trying to tell you something, prepare you for something. At least that's what we thought." "Prepare us for what?" She was quiet for a moment. "The house isn't just oriented east. It's pulling toward something, some place or state or I don't know what to call it. But everything in that house is trying to move in one direction, including the people who live there. That doesn't make sense." "I know, but after 6 months, we couldn't sleep anymore, couldn't relax. Felt like the house was always pulling at us, trying to drag us somewhere. We'd wake up standing in front of open doors, not remembering getting out of bed. We'd find ourselves in rooms we didn't remember entering. It was like the house was trying to move us the same way it moved everything else." My stomach dropped. "Did you tell the next buyers?" "We tried." "But how do you explain it without sounding insane?" "We told the real estate agent, told the buyers to ask previous owners, but no one ever did. They just saw a house they could afford and jumped on it like we did." "What do we do?" "Leave. As soon as you can, before it gets worse." "Worse than sleepwalking?" Another pause. David and I weren't the only ones in that house by the end. There was something else there. We'd see it in peripheral vision, always to the east, always just beyond the doorways. A figure, tall, thin, wrong proportions, not quite human. I felt cold. "Did it hurt you?" "Not physically, but it watched us, followed us, was always in the next room over, waiting behind every door we opened, like it was hurting us somewhere, guiding us east through the house toward whatever's on the other side." "The other side of what?" "The doors. They don't just face east, they lead there, to wherever east becomes something other than a direction." She wouldn't explain further, just said to get out, to not wait as long as they had. We thanked her and hung up. Jen and I sat in silence for a while. "That was a lot," she finally said. She sounded sane. Scared, but sane. "So what do we do? We just bought this house. We can't afford to move again." "Maybe it's psychological. Maybe the house's design creates some kind of suggestion effect, makes people believe there's something wrong when there isn't." But I didn't believe that, because I'd seen it too. That figure Lisa described. Just once, 3 days ago, when I'd gotten up for water at 3 a.m., caught a glimpse through the bedroom doorway of something standing in the hall, tall and thin and wrong, gone when I looked directly at it. We tried to ignore it, went about our routines, went to work, pretended the house wasn't slowly unraveling our sanity, but it kept getting worse. The doors opened more frequently. We'd close them. They'd open within minutes. We stopped trying, let them stand open, all of them. Every doorway in the house gaping toward the east. The dreams became constant. Every night, same theme. Walking through doors, stepping into void. But now the dreams had a destination, a place beyond the emptiness, a vast space, cathedral-like, made of shadows and eastern light. And in that space, something waiting, something that had been waiting for a long time. We started sleepwalking, both of us. Jen would wake up standing at the back door, hand on the knob. I'd wake up in the spare bedroom, facing the closet door, inches away from opening it. The figure appeared more often, always in peripheral vision, always to the east, always watching. Sometimes it was in the next room. Sometimes it was behind us, reflected in windows, visible for just a moment before vanishing. We called a priest. He came, blessed the house, performed whatever ritual Catholics do for hauntings, said he felt a presence, but nothing malevolent, advised us to pray, to stay strong in our faith. It didn't help. The house continued its slow pull eastward. We called a psychic. She walked through, looked uncomfortable, left quickly, said the house was oriented toward a threshold and that we should either leave or complete the journey. When we asked what that meant, she wouldn't elaborate. 3 months after moving in, Jen woke me up at 4 a.m. I opened a door, she said. Her voice was strange, distant. The bathroom door. But it didn't lead to the bathroom. What do you mean? I mean, I opened it and there was something else there. Not our house. Somewhere else. I saw it clearly. It wasn't a dream. What did you see? That place from the dreams. The cathedral space. And the figure was there, standing in the center, waiting. It looked at me, saw me, knew me. Jen, it wants us to go there. That's what the house has been doing, preparing us, moving us east, opening doors. It's been trying to show us the way. You're overtired, stressed. You need sleep. I'm not crazy. I saw it, and I think part of me wants to go there. That scared me more than anything else. The way she said it, like she was considering it. Like the house had finally worn her down enough that she was willing to step through one of those doors and not come back. I called in sick the next day, stayed home with Jen. We needed to make a decision, leave and lose everything we'd invested, or stay and let this house slowly drive us toward whatever waited on the other side of those eastern-facing doors. That evening, all the doors in the house opened at once. Every single one. Bedroom, bathroom, closets, everything. Standing open, aligned, creating a clear path from the front of the house to the back, from west to east. And at the end of that path, through the back door's window, I saw it clearly for the first time. The figure, standing in our backyard, tall, impossibly thin, features that didn't resolve properly even when I looked directly at it. It raised one long arm, beckoned. It's calling us, Jen whispered. It wants us to walk the path, through all the doors, to the threshold. We're not going. It won't stop. It'll keep pulling, keep calling, every night, until we go or go insane. She was right. I could feel it, that pull, like gravity, like magnetism. The house had been conditioning us for months, moving our possessions, moving us in our sleep, opening doors to show us the way. And now it was demanding we complete the journey. We leave tonight, I said. Pack essentials. We go to a hotel, figure out the rest later. It won't let us leave. We'll make it. Let us. We packed quickly. Clothes, documents, laptops. Left everything else. Didn't care about furniture or belongings. Just needed out. Walked toward the front door. It was closed. I tried to open it. The handle wouldn't turn. Locked from the inside, but the lock wouldn't disengage. Tried the windows, all locked. Tried the back door, locked. Every exit sealed, every door except the interior ones standing open, creating that path, showing us the only way the house would let us go, east, through the threshold, to whatever waited beyond. We spent that night huddled in the living room, all the lights on, watching the doors. They remained open. The figure stayed in the backyard, visible through the window, waiting patiently. At dawn, something changed. The pull lessened. The doors remained open, but the compulsion faded. We tried the front door again. It opened easily. We grabbed our bags and ran. Didn't look back. Got in the car and drove to Jen's parents' house 3 hours away. Stayed there for a week, trying to process what had happened. "We're not going back," Jen said. "I don't care about the house, the mortgage, any of it. We're not going back." I agreed. We contacted a lawyer, explained we needed to get out of the house due to undisclosed issues. The lawyer looked into the property history, found records of previous owners making similar complaints, built a case for fraud, for failure to disclose known defects. The case is still ongoing. But we got out of the mortgage, out of the obligation. The house sits empty now. Back on the market, price dropped again, waiting for the next desperate buyers who won't ask enough questions. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if we'd walked that path. If we'd gone through all those eastern-facing doors, stepped across the threshold the house had been preparing us for. Where would we have ended up? And I wonder about Arthur Barlow, the original owner. He'd built the house this way intentionally. Every door facing east, every entrance aligned toward something. Had he made the journey? Is that why the house was sold after his death? Because he'd stepped through and never come back? To this day, I can't face east without feeling uneasy. Can't walk through doorways without checking what's on the other side. Can't shake the memory of that figure standing in the yard, beckoning us towards something we couldn't understand. Jen's in therapy now. So am I. Trying to process 3 months of psychological conditioning by architecture, by design that pulled us toward a destination we'll never reach. But sometimes, late at night, I feel it. That pull. East. Always east. Like part of me is still in that house, still walking toward those open doors, still responding to the call of whatever waits beyond the threshold. If you're house hunting, if you find something that seems too good to be true, check the doors, check their orientation. If they all face the same direction, if there's a pattern that seems intentional, ask questions. Ask why. Ask about previous owners. And if someone mentions Arthur Barlow or Eastern philosophy or any kind of spiritual orientation built into the architecture, walk away. Don't buy it. Don't move in. Don't let yourself become part of whatever journey that house is facilitating. Because some houses aren't meant for living. They're meant for passage, for transition, for moving people from this world to whatever exists in the direction they face. The house, where every door faced east, is still standing, still waiting, still pulling, still calling to whoever's desperate enough or naive enough to move in. And someday, someone will walk that path. We'll open every door in sequence. We'll step across the threshold. We'll find out what Arthur Barlow discovered when he designed his house with every door facing the rising sun. I hope I never know what they find there, but I suspect they'll never come back to tell us.